Spring has sprung and the spring lawn season is finally here. Today we're going to be talking about dethatching your lawn and what you need to do to get your lawn ready for the upcoming spring lawn season. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
If I told you I was ready right this minute, do you think that it would turn you on? I just feel like you need to know. If I told you I was ready right this minute.
How's it going, Welcome back to the Great Crew North. My name is Wade Murray. I'm a lawn care enthusiast as well as I worked in the industry, and today we're going to be talking about dethatching your lawn. Do you need to dethatch your lawn this spring, and what dethatching does to help your lawn? So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we can talk about dethatching, we'd have to talk about what thatch actually is. Thatch is a layer of organic material that builds up between the soil and the upper leaf surface of the grass. Most of this material is built up of leaves and the organic material that's broken down over time, sticks, as well as the grass clippings made up from you cutting your grass. All this material kind of sits as a layer in between the soil and the leaf surface above your grass, and this layer helps do some good things. It helps prevent weeds from coming through. It helps hold in moisture up against the soil in the summertime when it's really dry. However, there are some bad things that this can do. It can help kind of choke out the grass. It can create thin areas, allowing opportunistic areas for weeds to come through, as well as if you have too much thatch, it can hold too much moisture up against the grass plant, which can cause the growth of disease and fungus coming in to the future there. Most of the time in the spring we have a heightened level of thatch because of the fact that we just came out of winter dormancy. We have all that leaf surface that died off over the winter due to snow mold or other factors, and it's all kind of packed down in the lawn from that ice that was sitting on top of the lawn, all that snow that was sitting on top of the lawn, packing everything down. All that thatch is sitting on top of your lawn, and now it's spring and your lawn's trying to grow, and it's got to grow through that thatch to get to the sunlight to start growing. So that's normally why we have a lot of thatch in the spring, and the spring is normally a wet season, so we don't want to leave all that thatch there, because in the wet season in the spring we're going to have a lot of moisture sitting up on top of the lawn. There isn't a lot of sunlight in the spring to help dry out the grass, so spring is a great time for fungus. A lot of varying temperatures, not a lot of sunlight, lots of moisture. That's perfect weather for fungus, and leaving too much thatch can cause the fungus to invade and take over. I'm speaking all of this from experience. A couple of years ago I didn't dethatch the front because I didn't think I had that bad of a thatch issue, and then I actually struggled with fungus throughout most of the summer there. Had to do a dethatch in late spring when the grass was already growing, and it was just a whole disaster. So this is why it is so important to dethatch in the spring. So without further ado, let's take a look at an area on my lawn and let's look at thatch versus dethatch, and let's show the pros and cons about why you need to do this. Alright, so I'm sitting down here in my side lawn. This area gets a lot of thatch because there's a lot of wind that blows through here, a lot of blowing snow, a lot of built up snowbanks, everything like that. This is the thatch layer. See all this brown material here? This is your thatch left over from the winter. You can see how matted it is, and you can see it's starting to get warmer. Not warm today, starting to get warmer, and the grass is starting to peek through there and start to grow. Below this thatch, we have your soil. Your soil, again, is where all the nutrients is, where you have all those great micronutrients, all that organic activity happening, the roots, and that's where all your lawn gets all of its food and health from. But you want to make sure your fertilizer and water is getting down to that soil, and this is where the thatch can help interfere with this. Now in the spring, your lawn is trying to poke through, it's trying to start growing again. This area was all brown about 2 weeks ago, and it's starting to green up, it's starting to grow through. You can see all the new growth coming in here. Now all this thatch is acting as a blanket, and it's basically impeding this from coming through. So let's kind of take a look at two areas here. So if I pick an area right here, and I just use my hand and just lightly dethatch, just with my hand, look at how much organic material I pull out of there. This is all dead grass. You bag this and get rid of it. There's no need to leave this in your lawn. Normally in the summer, you would want to leave this in your lawn because it has nitrogen in it. This is all dead and exhausted. Just get rid of it. You don't need to leave it in your lawn. Now look closely right here at this little square I just dethatched. Look at how much green grass is in here. These are all your crowns, which is the brain of the plant, and you can see all this leaf surface starting to poke through. This was all covered up by the thatch, so this was not able to get sunlight, not able to photosynthesize, and not able to grow as effectively as it is now that we've removed the thatch. This is why it's so important to remove the thatch layer in your lawn in the spring and get your lawn growing and healthy again. Give your lawn a great start for the year, as well as this. All this thatch in here, as mentioned, is going to hold moisture in the spring. And when you don't have a lot of sunlight and you have a lot of moisture, that's a perfect breed, and your temperatures are going up and down, up and down. It's a perfect breeding ground for disease, fungus, and that's going to sit down in here. It's going to affect your grass, and you're going to start seeing brown patch and all those funguses you don't want to see. Up here in Canada, there's not a lot of we can really do to apply fungicides to stop fungus from growing. This is the best thing you can do in the spring to help your lawn grow, is to remove all this thatch. All right, so now you must be thinking, okay, Wade, I know that I need to remove the thatch, but how should I go about doing that? Well, there's a couple ways you can go about removing thatch that's easy for you to do at home. Now, if you got a lot of thatch buildup in your lawn and you think that you need something a little bit more powerful to get rid of it, you can buy yourself a thatch rake. These are specialty rakes, picture up here. These are specialty rakes made for removing thatch in your lawn. Most of the time they're made to remove thatch on actively growing grass, but you can go yourself and buy one if it's something you want to invest in. That does make removing thatch easier, but on the other hand, you are just as easily able to remove thatch yourself with a regular steel spring rake. And these rakes can be used for many other things than just removing thatch. So I would say if you're a beginner or you're someone like me, like I've never owned a thatch rake. I use them a lot when I worked at the lawn care company as well as when I worked at the golf course. But these rakes work perfectly for home residential use. They're perfect for cleaning up gardens and everything else like that. They're cheap. You can get them at your local home and garden store, Canadian Tire. Go pick one up and you can use it to remove thatch. Just as easy as applying a little bit of pressure, making sure that you're getting all the way down and getting that thatch up. So without further ado, let's take a little quick look here at me using the spring rake. So as you can see here, just in that little square area I did, from here to there, you can see that little square, we managed to get all this thatch here. This is all the organic material, all the dead leaf surface from the winter, as well as all your grass clippings from last fall, as well as there's some leaves and other stuff in there. You've now removed this from the grass. You've exposed a lot more green that's been working its way through in the warmer temperatures, as well as these exposed some soil down here for the nutrients to be able to work its way down to when you do go ahead and fertilize. So you can see the difference here. Look at the difference between the area here that was dethatched and the area here with all the thatch. Imagine the grass trying to be able to work through that thatch. It's not going to be able to grow as effectively as it is going to be able to grow here in this area that you've opened up and prepared for the spring. All right, so now that we've covered dethatching and how to do it and the importance of doing it, you're all probably asking, Wade, when should I dethatch my lawn? When do I know that it's time to get out there with the rake and dethatch lawn? A couple things to think about. I'm located Southern Ontario, Golden Horseshoe area here in Canada, and we are pretty much in the perfect time to begin raking. The one major thing you need to think about when you're going to go out and rake is it needs to be dry. So you can't have wet, mushy soil while you're going out and dethatch. You're going to destroy your lawn, you're going to make a whole bunch of damage, and it's just not worth it. Your soil has to be thawed, you can't have frozen ground, it has to be dry. So here we're kind of getting to that point now where things are starting to dry out. We've had a lot of rain recently, but with the sunlight we're getting, things are starting to dry out. It's starting to get to that point where we can go ahead and dethatch. A little bit of damp is okay. Soaking wet, sobbing wet like it is in the spring, to the point where when you step, water's coming out of the ground, that's not going to work for your dethatching. Third thing is wait until the lawn is actively growing. As you can see here, my lawn last week started growing. The green's starting to come through. We're really starting to get to that point now. We're about 2 weeks out probably from the first mow. We're going to be doing fertilizer next weekend. So everything's coming up here. The lawn's starting to grow. So that's a perfect chance to know that you're ready to dethatch. So I would say anybody located in the Southern Ontario, Golden Horseshoe area, as well as my American friends down in New York State, all the way through Washington, you're probably getting to that point now where you're ready to go ahead and start dethatching, start raking. You know, just wait till that dry weather, and as soon as you see your lawn start to actively grow, that's when you know it's time to get out there and get your raking done. Now, raking and dethatching is just step one to my spring lawn program. We have our fertilizer program coming out Next week we're going to be talking about putting down fertilizer because that's coming up very soon as well, and then we'll be mowing before we know it. So make sure you hit subscribe, stay tuned. We got more great videos coming up here to help transform your lawn this spring to the greenest, best lawn on the block. You can dominate your neighbors and sit in your garage and look out at your lawn. That's what we all want to see, and that's what's coming up here right here, as well as we've got some great promo codes. GrowForge is offering their new products on their website. Great Canadian company if you're looking to support some Canadian lawn care fertilizer. Use code GGN25 to get 5% off at checkout, as well as support the channel at the same time. As well as that, we got some other products in the work here coming up very soon. So make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you get your fertilizer ready. We'll be back next weekend talking about how to put down fertilizer, what fertilizer to put down, and everything to do with fertilizing your lawn early in the spring. So without further ado, from the Great Green North, my name is Wade Murray. As always, any questions, leave them in the comments down below or on my website, ggnlc.ca. And as always, keep it green.